Tenakoto katoa, ko Marian Johnson, toku inua. Good morning, everyone. My name is Marian Johnson, and I'm the Chief Executive at Ministry of Awesome. I'm so excited to be here with you today to talk to you about the startup founders I'm lucky enough to work with, and they are creating those innovation careers that are going to change the world. So our agenda today is we're going to start off with a really quick introduction to Ministry of Awesome. Then we are going to move to why startups are important, what startup jobs look like, and then who are we looking for. So I'll start first with a really clear idea of what I mean by the word startup. A startup for us is not any old company right at the beginning of their journey. A startup is a venture that is solving a problem that is completely scalable, that will have significant business impact all around the world. So this is a business that is global from day one. All right, so an introduction to Ministry of Awesome. We are a force for New Zealand startups and innovators, and we do our work from our headquarters at Te Ohaka, which means the nest. This is our startup hub in Central City, Christchurch, where on average 30 founders are working on their high growth innovations. We also run our founder catalyst incubator from here and our accelerators from here. And those incubators and accelerators work with startup founders from across the country. So the Startup Hub is a partnership between Ata Institute of Canterbury, which is now known, of course, as Te Pukenga, Christchurch NZ, our economic development agency, and Callaghan Innovation, which is the national agency in New Zealand that develops our innovation edge. And this is a really unique national model. It brings together students and faculty from the Ata Institute of Canterbury, and it brings them together with startup founders, investors, and leaders from the commercial world. Since May 2019, the work we're doing at Te Ohaka has meant that we have worked with more than 113 startups who have raised on average, well, not on average, who have raised $40 million and have created 234 new jobs. These numbers are changing on a bi-weekly basis because obviously those figures are changing regularly in the upward direction. So why are startups important? Why do we do the work that we do? Well, in developed economies, up to 70% of all new job growth comes from high growth startups. And this is really important in New Zealand because Sir Paul Callaghan has very famously written about our productivity issue and has obviously talked about the need for us to be moving towards a knowledge economy. And one of the things that he said in a writing called Wool to Weta in 2009 is that New Zealanders choose to be poorer than other nations because we choose to work in low-wage activities. So we all know about our productivity problems. The report came out very recently. We are earning 35% less than Americans, 25% less than Australia, and New Zealand's relative economic performance has declined since 1960, mostly because we're doing less valuable things than in other places. And this is why we need startup founders. They are the trailblazers. They will invent our future leading industries. They will dictate tomorrow's job market. They are the innovators. So they are also our most ambitious problem solvers. They create jobs at an incredible clip. They thrive in uncertain times. So right now, most definitely in uncertain time, our startup founders are solving problems. This is a really good environment for them because there are plenty of problems that are being kicked up for them to solve. Number three is they make an absolutely outsized contribution to our country's imperatives. And that includes solving for problems around climate change, solving for problems around sustainability, solving for problems around health tech and med tech. They are incredible innovators in this respect because they're focusing on the problems that we are all suffering. And then finally, startups are going to ensure that New Zealand remains globally relevant and that we have leadership on the world stage. And this could not be more important than right now. Here's a schematic that is a few years old, admittedly. It shows that we have 400 plus high growth startups. On the far end of the scale, you can see our unicorns. I believe New Zealand has now ticked over to having 5 unicorns, which are $1 billion value companies. And then on the far left, you can see some of the companies that are growing at that rapid clip and moving towards that valuation of $1 billion. And this is important to note because these are the knowledge-based jobs. These are the high value jobs. These are the jobs and the startup jobs that people are going to want to move into in their future careers. I am really proud to be and pleased to be and honored to be part of a group called the Startup Council, which is 7 people who are currently working on a paper to advise government on what levers, what policies need to be executed, what strategies we can use to ensure that we're moving towards that knowledge-based economy. We have a goal of delivering by 2030, 5,000 active high-growth startups, 250,000 future-focused jobs, a GDP uplift, which is quite substantial, solving that problem around our productivity. Obviously, because these jobs and these industries are weightless products, we're working on this carbon neutral economy. We're also looking at what strategies we need to adopt to ensure that we have equity and diversity across the startup sector. And essentially, the big picture is that we are trying to create high growth entrepreneurship embedded in the Kiwi DNA. And so what that means, as you can see from that schematic, this is where you guys come in. We need 3,500 more startup founders, and we need 250,000 new employees to work with those startup founders to join their mission. And so a quick look at what startup jobs look like. So there's this saying that a minimum viable team for a startup is 1 hipster, 1 hustler, and 1 hacker. Obviously, you can be a hipster hustler in 1 person, but generally, if we look at these 3 roles separately, I'll give you an intro to what they are. So the hipster makes the product look market ready. They are the designer and the creative genius behind the product. The hustler is basically the salesman of the team. They're the chief salesman who move the idea forward, who attain revenue for the startup. And the hacker is obviously the one who develops that new technology that powers the business. I couldn't think of a better startup team to embody these 3 roles because these guys are the 3 founders of a high growth startup that came from Christchurch, went through the Te Ohaka experience. It's a startup called Partly, and Levi, Nathan, and Mark are definitely a hipster hustler hacker team. Partly is one of the most exciting startups in New Zealand right now. They have just finished a major raise, and they have an illustrious band of global investors who are part of that, including the founder of Figma, which has just been sold to Adobe for $40 billion. And obviously Peter Beck as well is also one of the investors in Partly. It's a very exciting startup that are going great places, and they're growing so fast. I also wanted to take you through some of the other exciting startups that we're lucky enough to work with at Ministry of Awesome. Here we have the founder of Pipervision, which is Emily Blythe. I've given her the title of hustler, but she's so much more than that. Emily Blythe founded Pipervision, which is solves an $85 billion fog problem on global aviation runways. And she's created a hydroscopic powder along with her founder, Nick, and it's disseminated by this incredible space age looking drone. And essentially this means that you are never going to be stranded by fog again. Then we've got Nadia Scartosi, who is the founder of eClean and BioWaste. She's created a bioreactor that removes nitrates from polluted water. And obviously, we know here in Canterbury and across New Zealand what an issue this is in New Zealand, but of course, it's an issue all around the world. And I've given her the title of hacker because she understands this technology. She has driven the creation of that technology. She's a pretty amazing founder. Then we have, I've given Elise the title of hacker because she is the person who has driven the technology again behind the Menu Aid platform, not the software technology, but she is a nutritionist. So she's the sort of the scientist behind what she calls the Spotify of food. And this is an incredible startup that is just going from strength to strength, having just raised. I encourage you to check out menuaid.co.nz and see what this is all about. And then finally, I'll leave you with Lucy Pink. So Lucy Pink is, if I gave her a title, I'd give her hipster. She's the founder of a sustainability and fashion platform called On You, which not only reveals all of the supply chain for the fashion industry, but also provides a place for anybody who is interested in combating fast fashion and who really wants that traceability and understanding of what goes behind the making of the clothes that they wear. You can purchase directly from On You through Lucy Pink's platform. So last piece that I want to cover with you is what does it take to be successful in a startup? So I was given this mug by Rob Vickery, who is the founder of venture capital company Hill Ference Ventures, who invest in some of our startups. And this is very true. They invest in dreamers, thinkers, and doers. And dreamers, thinkers, and doers, it means you've got someone who is dreaming about how to solve a problem. Then they think about how it might work, what technology needs to be created in order to solve that problem. And then finally, they do the most important piece, which is they activate and they execute on their dream. And so what I would like you to think about next time you've got a young person sitting on the other side of the table talking about their future career, what should they do with their life? What courses should they take? Where are they going with their future? I'd really love you to look across and see if you can spot a hipster, someone who has their finger on the pulse, a hustler, someone who can sell, a hacker, someone who can build, a dreamer, a thinker, and a doer. We would be so grateful for you, and we'd love to see those people eventually working with us at Te Ohaka so that we can create the New Zealand that we're all dreaming about. Thank you very much for your time today, and I'm looking forward to answering your questions.